Welcome to Highlighted, a Life Church Midweek Podcast. Here, we're on a journey to look for ways to make our sermons more practical in our everyday lives, and we want to inspire you to live out your faith every single day, not just on Sundays. In each episode, we highlight our sermons and our ministries to see how God is working in our church and through our community. And as always, I'm sitting here with Pastor Joshua, and man, we just got off of week 2 of the Missions Collective, and there's still 3 weeks to go this year because there's a 5th Sunday in September. And man, I'm just excited to see not just what God is doing here, not just in our community, but all around the world. And I'm excited to highlight some of that. And man, what an encouraging Sunday this past Sunday. That's weird, yeah.
Go figure. Hey, that's a nice hat, by the way. I want to tell you, you wear that hat very well, and always such a nice voice and presence on the podcast, and so I appreciate that about you.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate your vehicle, and I love when you're out of town and I'm taking care of your dogs, and you leave me the keys to your vehicle, and I get to drive it around. And I thought it was funny that you were talking all about your Jeep on Sunday, like you wanted someone to compliment your Jeep. You're like, hey, we want to encourage one another. We want to do this. Look at these ducks. I have
even
these
brought
ducks.
the ducks, yeah.
And man, what an encouragement. So I wish there was something like that for us, though, like besides a compliment. But, you know, if you like a Jeep, you put a duck on it. And I wish, like, if I like something about you, I could I could reach into my pocket and put a duck on your shoulder. And if you're listening, if you're not watching on YouTube, I put a little duck on Pastor Joshua's shoulder.
That's fantastic. Where'd you get this?
Your Jeep.
Yeah, you did. I thought so. I thought that looked familiar. So we talked about encouragement on Sunday. This is one of our 4 pillars of the Missions Collective. And it's funny because these have really become things that are more than just, we originally kind of put them out as this idea that this was how we're going to engage with our missionaries. And they've really turned into how we engage with our mission field also, which is a big deal because we want to be people who are encouraging. We want to be people who do the best we can to lift everyone up. And that was the idea of the ducks, right? They didn't all work out really well. There was the weird duck, yeah. The one that kind of, he just laid sideways the whole time. I claimed to be the weird duck. We all know some weird ducks.
And if you don't know a weird duck, you're probably the weird one.
Duck. Yeah, that's probably you if you don't know one. But, we want to lift up everyone around us. And when we lift up even just 1 or 2 people, we're lifting up all of our community, everybody that we come in contact with. We all kind of rise up when each one of us are lifted up and encouraged. Then we talked about not only that, but investing in people and spending some time, right? And we'll just come back to the ducks. I keep a bag of these little guys in my Jeep so that when I see, for those of you who don't know, if you're not a Jeep enthusiast or don't know what's going on.
So everyone else listening.
Basically everybody listening. If you see a Jeep that you like and you drive a Jeep, you give it a duck. And so I duck a lot of Jeeps because I like a lot of Jeeps. And I didn't think I was going to like it at first. Like I thought, when Casey asked me if I was going to be doing the duck thing with the Jeep, and I was like, nah, I don't think I'm going to. And then we were at Walmart, and she took a picture because I'll never forget this day. I got my first duck. And it wasn't like a little one like this. It was like an actual squeaky rubber ducky that someone had went into Walmart and bought from the baby section.
And it's the big one, right in the middle.
Right in the middle of my Jeep. And so I come out, and it was sitting on my door. And somebody invested, right? And that immediately brought lift to my life. I didn't think I was going to like it. I didn't think, and originally I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want nothing to do with it. I got my first duck, and I was like, oh yeah, this feels good, right? It feels good that somebody acknowledged, hey, you're a part of this community. You're a part of what we're doing. And man, it was incredible.
And then you went and, you didn't buy the bag. Right. It was a gift. But
yeah.
Now you have a bag of ducks, and you go and you encourage other people that might be in your same shoes. It might be their first time, their first day out with that vehicle, and they're thinking, man, I don't know if I'm going to get into this, but oh, look, someone left me a duck.
Right.
Look, take a picture. Take my picture with it. It's so cool.
And it's a silly thing, right? But you get kind of brought into this community, and it brings about this same idea of what we're trying to do in the church. We're trying to bring people into this community of believers, this community of people who are working towards the same goal, right? We're talking about missions, and we're working towards seeing the world, that the whole world would know Jesus. And as you bring people into that community, they begin to get connected, and they get excited about it. And then they connect other people, and then they connect other people. And all of a sudden, the pull of lift that you bring, right, that to just one person is now to 20 or 30 people, and then 100 people, and then 1,000 people. And your one piece of encouragement could be encouragement to thousands of people. To me, that's just an incredible opportunity that we have. Also an incredible calling, because it's hard to be encouraging sometimes, right? We didn't really talk about this on Sunday, but it's difficult when you're going through a rough season to encourage other people, right? Like if I'm grumpy, I don't even think about giving out ducks, right? Until
You think about taking them.
I'm
You
like,
see
yeah,
a Jeep that
I'm
has a
like,
duck on it.
yeah,
Give me that.
Yeah, that doesn't deserve a duck. And so, yeah, but it is hard. It's hard for us, and we get to those places where we're just like, no, I don't want to do this today. Yet, if we'll think about our own life, when people take the time to lift us up, when they take the time to invest in us, when they forgive us, man, the number of times, I think I've said this on this podcast before, but the number of times I've had to go to my children and say, I'm sorry. Like, I messed up here. Let me tell you why I messed up. Like, they're quick to forgive me, but I'm always like, I want you to hear me say why. I want you to know that I know what I did. And that's encouraging even to them, because they're not the only ones always expected to seek forgiveness, right? And not necessarily in my household, but in a lot of households, even when I was a kid, it was very much expected that the adults were always right, and they did not apologize. They did not. But what an encouragement, when they recognized it, like it's okay if you messed up. Let's fix it. Right? That's encouragement to me when somebody acknowledges that. And so we said forgive is one of those ways. And then we talked about teaming up and all the incredible opportunities that we have to team up in the church.
Especially this month.
Oh man, it's insane.
I'm excited because we're just on the little baby hump of getting through the middle of the month, and man, time is flying by. I feel like this year has flown by, but September I think is starting to slow down a little bit. Maybe it's just in my head, but man, I'm just excited for everything on the horizon for Missions Month. We still have our Around the World Missions Dinner that we get to celebrate. We still have Love Life Roanoke.
Hey, by the way, if you haven't signed up for the dinner, you need to do that. And if you're like, well, I don't go to the church there, that's okay. It doesn't matter.
That's fine.
We still want you to be a part of it. And if you're like, well, how do I sign up? Well, you can come here and sign up. You can message us and we can get you signed up. We just need to know what country that you want to cook for, and if you have decorations for that country already, or if we need to try to provide some. And that's it. And that's really it. And then you show up on the day of the dinner, and we have fun, and we eat, and we eat, and we eat. And it's an incredible opportunity. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to say that.
And it's free.
Yeah, absolutely free.
It's
no
also
cost.
like you don't feel like you're coming in and like, man, I'm going to eat a lot of food. I got to pay a lot of money for a lot of food. Won't cost you a dime.
No, and you can eat around the world.
Around the world. We'll take you around the world for free.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to leave that room. You're just going to go in a circle. But we'll pretend.
Around the world in 80 dishes, maybe. I don't know. I don't think we'll have 80, but we'll be close.
We'll try.
We'll try. We'll see what happens.
But yeah, and then
you were
Love Life Roanoke and the Blue Ridge Women's Center. We're going to sit down with them and really hear their heart. And that we started that last year, and I love that Sunday just because it's a lot different when you hear it from the individuals.
Yeah.
What's going on? What is the need, right? Because sometimes we don't know the need. And sometimes we like to pretend like we know. Oh, like the Lord knows. Jesus knows. We'll pray for them. We'll give them money. But we don't know.
Yeah.
We've never taken the chance to sit down and to ask, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, what is this problem and how can we support you?
Yeah.
Not just financially, not just with our prayer, but how can we rally around you and really let you know that we're in this together, right?
Speaking
we're teaming
of
up together.
I mean, that's what this is, right? We're talking about this with them, and I met with the lady over Love Life Roanoke, and you could just hear it in her voice that she expects this to be an encouraging time for her, that people want to know what they're doing and what's happening. They're seeking to understand better, and that is huge. I mean, that's a big deal for people who are running ministries and people who are doing things that sometimes things don't always go the way you expect them to go. Yet here's a group of people who are willing to listen, willing to hear, want to hear what's going on, and hopefully want to jump in and become a part of it, not just financially, that's a part of it. We want to give, but through prayer, through understanding, through encouragement, through action, through going and being a part of what Love Life is doing, through going and being a part of what the Blue Ridge Women's Center is doing. And so we're excited to have them. That's probably one of my, Missions Month is one of my favorite times of the year, because I like to eat, and because I really do.
Because you're the weird duck.
I'm the weird duck, and I really do enjoy these interviews and getting to sit down with people who love what they do. And it's clear, right, that these two ladies we're going to sit down with absolutely love what they do. And the hope and the prayer is, right, this is, in case you're wondering why we do all this, well, because as the year unfolds, as the next year unfolds, we're hoping not to just partner with them financially, but we're hoping to have some experiences where we go and be a part of what they're doing. And maybe it's something you have a passion for. And maybe it's something God lays on your heart to step in and become active in. That's what we need.
Yeah. And I think one of the great things about the church, the global church, is our support for missions, our global missions. Man, like, it's so encouraging and so refreshing to hear that we're not just reaching people in our four walls, but we're sending people out, and we're doing stuff all over the world. And you hear these stories of these missionaries going to Africa or to Russia or to all of these other countries that I will probably never go to. And you get to hear so much of, how God has encouraged them and challenged them to step out of their bubble and to go to these places and to love these people that Jesus loved first, right? Because, none of us are perfect. And even if we don't speak the same language or have the same belief system or this or that or whatever the case is, man, like, what an encouragement to know that there are people going out into all of the world, to going to all of the nations. But a lot of times, right, I love that. But a lot of times we miss out on our local mission field.
Right here.
Right, because we're our eyes are set on the horizon, and we're looking so far out that we forget to look down.
Yeah, it wasn't just to the ends of the earth, right? It was Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, then to the ends of the earth. We can't ignore what's happening right here in our backyard. We can't ignore that there are people that need Jesus, right? 98,000 people in Roanoke City, Roanoke County, Vinton, and Salem that need to be born again.
And not to mention Blacksburg or Bedford,
right. Yeah, that
or
leaves
Lynchburg.
Out all those
and
other
there's
places.
all of these other places, and like, I have friends that I will drive to Lynchburg to go see, and man, they have a community that's starving for Jesus, just as much as mine is.
Yeah, and all of them need a little encouragement, right?
And man, I just think what a treat, what an honor to partner with some local missions, some local groups that are doing the work right here in our own backyard. And man, I'm just so excited and I'm encouraged just hearing about everything that they're going to do. So we're going to be doing an adoption week with Love Life Roanoke right after they come. And man, I'm excited because we get to get our feet wet. And if you've been around for a minute, you know what that means. Yeah. But man, I'm excited to get our feet wet.
And if you haven't been, you got to go back a couple of years.
Yeah, you got to go a couple years and watch some sermons, man. My favorite, honestly, is one of my favorite themes for the year. I know you loved Gate Smasher last year and getting to explore that and the idea that, man, we are not defensive, but we are on the offensive.
Yeah.
And man, I love that. But there's something that just irks me in my spirit and winds me up. And I think of, when you get a dog wound up and you start to flinch a little bit, and the dog starts running back and forth, roo, roo, roo. And man, when you say, man, we're carriers of the presence, we got to get our feet wet. Roof, roof, roof. I'm wound up. I'm ready to go. But man, I'm so excited to be partnering with these local groups and doing stuff right here in our own backyard. And man, I love world missions. I love people that are reaching people in the rest of our nation. And that's something that Love Life is doing. They're not just in Roanoke. They're reaching people all over the nation. But man, I'm so just proud and honored to get to be a part of it right here.
Yeah.
In my home.
That's exciting. I mean, to your point, I got an email just this morning or yesterday maybe from another entity in Love Life, right? Because we want to serve in Love Life Roanoke, but Love Life is a large organization, like you mentioned, and they were talking about a young lady who chose life for her child, and now she's in a situation where she needs some more help, and to see them like ready to jump in and do more than just be like, abortion's bad, I mean, and we understand, we get that, but they're doing more than that. Right, it's their mission, and I love this. One of the first things they said to me was, "Our mission's not just to see the end of something like abortion; it's that the world would know Jesus." I can get behind an organization who wants to see the world know Jesus and work on these other things. Like, I can get behind that. That's encouraging to me, because if it gives the idea that we're going to meet this goal. Right. And when we're done, we're not just going to disband, because people still need Jesus.
Yeah, especially when you can see this action by them to say, hey, like, it's more than just a number of babies that are born.
Right.
Right. It's more than just making that decision, but even a few months after that decision, we're still going to love you, and we're going to rally together, and we're going to reach out to everyone we can and say, hey, we can't do this alone.
Right.
But we have to team up.
Yeah.
And man, think of the encouragement in that woman's life and in that baby's life.
Yeah.
And that baby might not ever know.
Sure.
What might have happened.
But
man, just think of who that baby's going to reach. And not even here, right? We can't even fathom that. Like, we don't know who he's going to grow up to be, or she, I don't know the gender of the baby, but we don't know if...
I was going to say it's very presumptuous of you.
It's very, But are they going to be the next big pastor that writes the next big book and that reaches millions of people? Are they going to be the next doctor that cures a disease that was once incurable? Are they going to be the next great something? And just, there's so much potential. And we talked about this on Sunday, that there's so much potential. And it was silly with the little ducks, but man, what a powerful way to view it, that, if we start to fill up the one cup, right, and that cup pours into it. And I wish we had the time and the amount of ducks to just have 100 cups with single ducks, and then pour those into that container. And then once that container filled up, pour it into another container. And man, it just keeps going and going, because you're never going to run out of encouragement.
That's good.
And I feel like you can run out of money. You can run out of things to pray about. You can run out of ideas to have on how to go out and reach people, but you can never run out of encouragement. And I don't think you'll ever get full up on encouragement.
Right.
And there's really wealthy people, not us, that have it all, have seen it all, and they're still not filled up.
Yeah.
But they feel like, I have enough money. I can do this. I could do that. And there's people, I have enough resources. I could do this. I could do that. But man, even they like encouragement.
Right.
Even if I go to the biggest movie star in the world, who has the nicest things, the nicest house, the biggest name, and I say, hey man, I really liked not this movie because of what it did for me, but I really like what you're doing on the side here.
Right.
And I really like that you poured into this. And I know a lot of people didn't see that, but I thought that was really special and really nice. And that's going to mean so much more to that individual than if I was just saying, hey, that was a good movie, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But when you come and you encourage someone from a genuine heart, right? Not just saying nice things because people want to hear nice things, but you genuinely want to encourage them. Man, think of how much of a difference it's going to make. And man, I wish we had 1 million ducks.
Yeah.
That we could have just poured a giant pool of ducks and watched how it overflowed.
Well, you mentioned the word potential, and it's such a key thing as we talk about encouragement. We have to understand that people have potential, right? Individuals and what they do have potential. And so we have to be able to see that even prior to giving the encouragement, right? And we talked about Barnabas seeing the potential in Paul, seeing the potential in John Mark, and how he encouraged them to continue on and to push on. And if he's our example, then we have to have eyes for potential, right? That means we have to stop seeing people the way we want to, right?
And we have to choose kingdom trust.
We have to choose, right, man, come on. We have to choose kingdom trust, meaning we see the best in people even when they're showing us their worst.
Yeah, and like you said on Sunday, man, like even if it takes a little bit of time to see that potential, because it took Paul some time. And you said, I'm going to give him a hard time when I get to heaven. I'm going to say, hey, man, like I only had one name, and it was Paul my whole life.
Right.
You didn't. You were Saul, and you did some bad things. But when you were Paul, there's this one time, Pastor told me to bring it up. And he said that you did not see the potential. But, man, I just love how, man, even Paul, who wrote a majority of our New Testament, who, really shaped the future church, right? Who shaped us today. And man, who knows where the global church would be without Paul
Yeah.
and his missionary letters. And who knows how far away from Christ we'd be without his guidance and without his leadership.
That's good.
And man, I think even him had trouble seeing potential sometimes.
Yeah.
But it took some time. And the Lord was moving through him, and eventually
Eventually
it caught up. And man, I just think what a journey, and what a grace that the Lord gives us. That not only does he place people in our lives that see our potential, but he sees our potential.
Yeah.
Right? And he's known us at our worst, at our lowest low, and as far away from him as we could ever be. And he still sees us at our very best.
Yeah.
And not because of anything we've done, not because we've given him enough money, not because we've prayed enough times, not because we've been to enough church services, but because he loves us.
Yeah.
And man, I think what a grace, and what a way to show grace by seeing someone at their very best, even when they're being their very worst. Especially like you, right? He's at the beginning of this episode, you said, "I really like your hat." But right before we started recording, he says, "I really like your hat. It reminds me of the guy in Home Alone," and starts laughing at me. So
Marv, is that? No.
Harry.
Yeah, Harry.
Yeah. So man, what a journey, what an encouragement. Honestly, this past Sunday was just to be an encouragement.
Yeah.
And that's something we pray for every single Sunday, is that the message would challenge us, but also encourage us. So I think, man, what a treat to be encouraged, not by man, but by the word of God.
It's good.
Right. And to be encouraged in the presence of God, so that we could go out and encourage others. We could go out and make disciples. And man, Missions Month is just getting started. We are the Missions Collective. So make sure, if you haven't already, I got some homework for you guys. If you haven't filled out your faith promise card, make sure you fill it out and turn it in before the end of the month, because this is how we budget, how we give to missions. And we want to be able to take on some new groups. We want to be able to take on Love Life Roanoke as one of our missionaries, one of our local missionaries, and support them financially. And we can't do that without your help and without doing it together, because it takes a team.
Yeah.
Right. And like you said Sunday, we need to team up. And sometimes the way we encourage these missionaries is by providing what they need.
Yeah.
And sometimes they need our money.
Well, we couldn't possibly support every missionary on our own. Yet there are multiple churches that give monthly. Like every single month, churches are sending in these funds, and the missionaries depend on it, because now they're separated from.
And
their
it's not
loved
just the church is one entity, but it's all of those people that make up that church.
Yeah.
It's all of the people that make up that community. And man, I think what a encouraging time. I keep using that word because I was just encouraged this past Sunday. But man, what an encouragement to know that we can team up together, and we can make an impact even with the little that we bring.
Yeah.
So, man, I just want to encourage you, come and be a part of what the Lord is doing here in this house, but also go and be the church, because there's a whole mission field right in front of us that sometimes we miss the mark on. And as always, there's so much going on here at Life. So make sure you stay up to date, and we love you, and we can't wait to see you again soon.